Good afternoon, everyone. This is Scott, and welcome to the weekly trade report video for the week of April 2nd, 2017. So the market is still in this kind of choppy range, and if we take a look here at the Dow Jones ETF, you can see here where we've pulled back all the way to the 50-day, where it found support and then kind of rallied for a couple of days. And so I will say that there's been some decent setups. I'm seeing better setups in the market, but the overall market is still kind of in a choppy range. And a lot of these trades they make a move for a day and then they give it back the next day. So it's not really holding their gains. So it's kind of been a difficult market if you're swing trading. But there have been some trades that have actually held up and continued, but the market is still kind of directionless, I would say. So you can see here on the Dow Jones ETF, it kind of had this big sell-off day, then it fell, and then rallied back up for a couple of days. So is this going to put in basically a lower high here and then continue south, or is it going to stabilize and then perk back up? And so that's yet to be seen. I will say I'm finding better setups in the market, so hopefully that the market will pick up and some of these names will really start taking off. But that's where we're at right now. The SPY, similar story. Had the big sell-off day, fell, and then we've had several green days. And the question is this going to be a lower high where you roll over again, or you stabilize and then continue higher here? So good news is it held the 50-day. So hopefully we'll start to see the market picking up going forward. But I always like to look at the individual names in the market, doing all my scans, and I'm finding more setups, better setups now than I have in a couple of weeks. So hopefully that's indicative of some more upside. IWM, basically this IWM held the support level down here around 134, opened down here but then closed back above it, so that's good. Next level is up here at the 140, so we're still in this range, say 134 to 140 in the small caps. So once again, directionless at this moment. IBB, some individual names look pretty good, but the overall index, no real opinion here. It's had resistance here at this 300 area where it kind of put in a double top, and then it fell off, and then now it's just kind of in a sideways thing. Had a nice green candle here, so it's holding the 50-day, but overall nothing real, no real conviction with regards to the biotech sector. Energy names, XLE, you can see the energy names have been in a downtrend for, what is that, a couple of months now. It's steady down. I will say that I've seen several double bottoms and kind of reversal patterns on a lot of these oil names, so that could be some more upside. One of them I'm thinking about is Chesapeake, CHK, and there's several other ones. But so look for this XLE to kind of break through this downtrend line. That would be the sign that the bottom is in. But some of the individual names have already put in double bottom kind of reversal patterns, so it does look like energy names going forward could see some more upside. So that'd be a sector to watch for bottom reversals in the oil sector. Financials, these fell off pretty good down here, held this support, and so now it's, is this a few-day rally and then roll over, or it's going to rally and stabilize and perk up again back above the 50? That's yet to be seen. There's a few decent banks that are setting up for breakouts, so that's a good sign. So some of the bank individual names look like they're right on the verge of breaking out to new highs, which is good. Good to see that. Yeah, and I added the semiconductor ETF. Just kind of look at this. This is the semiconductor sector has just been really doing very well for quite a while here. You can see just steady higher. So as far as I can tell, the semiconductor sector looks like it's going higher. So that's a really nice looking chart there. Just steady higher, steady uptrend in the semiconductors. Okay, so let's talk about some individual names. So SUPN, this is one that I traded last week, and the pattern was this 30 breakout, and you can see it had the nice break on this day and then kind of sideways for a few days and then continued going higher. So I bought this breakout through 30 and sold it, I think, at 30.85, somewhere in there, as it kind of got sideways, but just really wasn't moving. But it does look like it could be going higher, this SUPN. You know, and if you're going to use a measured move on this one, if you traded it, you'd use 30 and then try to take the depth, so the pattern would be somewhere around in this area, 26.74 to 30. So you could add that. That would be, or the average depth, which would be kind of somewhere in this area here, say 27.30 to 30, and whatever that difference is, you add that to the breakout as your target. But that one's still acting pretty well, SUPN. LTRX, this one was on the watch list earlier in the week here. You had this breakout through this $3.10. Right, so that was a nice pattern there, and you can see where this one had a really nice move. So if you traded that one, you did very, very well with it. It looks a little bit extended now, and if you were using a measured move on this one, you take the 260 to the 310, so that gives you, you know, what is that, 50 cents, so 310, so they give you a target of 360 as your target. So right in here, you'd have taken your whole position off, or partials at a minimum at this area here. So it does look extended now, so if you have it, or if you're in it, make sure you lock in some of those gains. That was a nice trade. BIOC is one that I was a losing trade. So this one I thought was going to perk up through this kind of 250 area on this ascending triangle pattern. This is what I was looking at. You know, something like this. And as you can see, it basically didn't hold and it pulled back, so I had to cut it. I think I got out at on this day, a couple days after this day. So around 220, when it failed that, I went ahead and cut it, and you can see it pulled back to, I think, 2, and then it's kind of perking off that level. So I mean, the chart doesn't look that bad. It's just not as pretty as it was before. So I'm not really following it too closely now. But if it perks back up, maybe to 240 area, and keep an eye on it for a move. AVXL, this is one that I was on the radar. It's still setting up. It's got this resistance right around 6, and you know, kind of this type of pattern. You can see where every one of these dips getting shallower and shallower. So if this one tests 6 again, it's probably going to go. It's tested it once, twice, 3 times, so it's getting tighter and tighter. So sellers are drying up. You know, so usually a good sign there when you get a tight range. So AVXL is one to watch potentially. Okay, CALD, this one finally broke out on Friday. Spot at 21, tested it here. You know, I was watching it here on the break, and then finally on Friday it actually perked up and broke right through 21. Had some good volume on the breakout, just like what you want to see. And so if you traded this one, you know, this is the depth. You can say this 1880 is the real depth, but then you would kind of take the average, because you can see where this was a low here too. So maybe use like 19 as the depth and 21 as the breakout. So then your target would be a couple dollars. So that'd be 23 target approximately for this one. So this one's good. It actually held the breakout. It's above 21. So this one could see continued upside next week. So it looks like a nice swing trade idea. ONTX was one that looked like it was going to break. Still kind of setting up nice through this resistance area here. It's a bio. So, you know, this day here, when it had this big volume day, it closed right there. Next day it tried to break and then kind of pulled back. But I mean, this bio does look like it's going to go here in the near term. It's a nice little volatility contraction pattern going on, so maybe one to keep on your radar. IMMY, this was a great setup. I didn't trade it, but had this clean resistance here. So the day, here's your spot. On this day we had some volume coming in, closed right there. I think that's around 280 area. I tested it back here twice, 3, 4, and then finally it broke, and you can see just a very nice move from there. If you had some of that, you lock in the gains at this point. It's quite a move, and even with the measured move here, so even if you use this as the pattern depth here, this 210, and you get the 280, so 70 cents. Add that on there, and then you can see where it's already cleared that. So that was a nice trade if you traded it. I didn't catch that one. PTX, here's a good example of why you don't hold through earnings, because even with a good pattern, earnings can destroy a pattern. So you just remember that going forward. Hopefully, and then you guys got caught into this thing, but it had it was breaking out through this 425 area during the day and looked good, but at the end of the day it kind of rolled over. So that was kind of your warning sign at the end of the day, because they had earnings after the bell or the next morning, I think. And so then you can see how it gapped down, and just this whole pattern that was setting up got destroyed. And so anyway, this is just one that broke down after earnings, and that happens a lot. The perfect pattern can fail because of earnings, and so just don't hold through earnings unless you down here, unless you're in it like say 330 or something, and you got a nice cushion underneath you, then maybe you can take a risk. But in general, like I said, it's 50-50 coin flip, and nobody knows how it's going to turn out. Okay, so Galt, this one's kind of a tricky trader, but it's steady higher, but it wobbles all over the place. And so I had a couple of key breakout spots, one at 2, right? And then another one here at this 220 spot. So this one broke through 220 and then fell, had a big crash day to 2, which was kind of another key level, and then now it's back up above the 220 spot. So this one is pretty volatile, so you kind of have to determine whether you want to day trade it or swing trade it. So that's some pretty violent moves, but in general the trend is up on it. If you wanted to longer term swing trade, you could kind of use this trend line here as your stop, and then sell into any big spikes. But so this one's steady higher, Galt. It's still a decent looking chart, even though it had quite a big move up there on Friday. Baba, so Baba still looks good, after breaking out of this kind of pattern here. This is what if you're trading this one looks like the swing trade perspective. You get this breakout, and then it's just kind of steady higher. So it's pulling back a couple days, but the chart does look like it's going higher. But that's Baba. Like I said, not a really fast mover, but it's steady higher. VIAV, this one failed to hold its breakout. Had a spot here right around 11. Looked like it wanted to go, and then it basically failed. So you're seeing a lot of this lately in the market, guys. So if you're getting chopped up and holding swing trades and they go back against you, it's the way the market is right now. And so when the market actually does get into a really steady trending market to the upside or downside, the moves will be more sustained. You'll see more multi-day moves versus just pop and drops like these day trades that seem like they're happening quite a bit. So this one failed, and now it's just in this choppy range again. So no play there. So IMLFF, so here's a penny play, a penny Canadian weed play that does look like it's going higher. The first spot on this one was this 30 spot, which I did trade this one on this 30 break, and although I didn't sell my position at 35 like I should have, I still ended up selling it like 33, I think. And then you know, kind of traded sideways for a couple of days and then really had a nice move on Friday broke through that 35 spot and now is near the 36. So I think the whole reason for this move is Canada is supposed to introduce legislation the week of April 10th to legalize recreational marijuana in the country, and so I think this is probably why this is moving. Some of these Canadian weed plays are perking up. The other one would be APHQF is another one that looks like it's trying to make a move, or it's starting to look better, and so it'll be a sector to watch going into next week and then the following week there, seeing if there's any reaction to the Canadian putting forth that legislation. It won't legalize it in the country till 2018, but you could see some movement in the Canadian weed plays sector. This is one that looks really good, this IMLFF. So this one, I wouldn't be surprised to see it going 40 plus or better in the next week or two. So just one to keep an eye on. ASC, this is a shipping company. I'm pretty bullish on the shippers right now. There's quite a bit of decent looking setups and names in the sector. This one has a spot here at 8, and it's still just right around that area. If we go back, you can see where right around this 8 spot is kind of a key level, both back here and then tested it here and then tested it here and failed. So it's right back near the 8 spot. It hasn't really moved since it's got to 8, but it does look like it wants to get through 8 and then maybe make a move. So this one I wouldn't be surprised if it perks up through 8 and makes a move sometime next week. There's several names in the sector that are strong. GNK is one that I'm currently in, one of the shippers, and so this one, once again, there's a couple of key spots on the chart. If we go back, you know, a year, you can see this 12 spot was a resistance right in here. So this is a year chart. You can see back here, 3. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it tried to break 12, got to 1250, and then failed when the market had a really big red day, and then now it's right back up. So this one is, I'm bullish on this one, but it's kind of a tricky one. So I'm trying to give this one some patience to see if it can make a move. And so we'll see how this thing acts here. 1250 seems like a key spot. It closed right there, and we'll have to watch the action on Monday, see if it can actually stay above this 1250 spot, because to me that's a key level based on this pattern here. And we'll see though. We'll see if this thing can finally make a move. I do think it looks like it wants to go to 13 or 14. So another one in the sector is this SPLK. You can see where that one had a gap up on this day above this resistance around 1150, and so now it's just consolidating right around the highs. It looks like a little bull flag forming, and so we'll see how that acts. SPLK. You know, Morgan Stanley, I think it was, upgraded the sector, calling and the sector was had finally bottomed out, and that's why you had this big gap on this day. And so we'll see how those act. Another one is this SB. You can see this one had a big break, big multi-day move, and now it's kind of pulling back for a couple days, but it's probably going to put in a bull flag pattern here, so it might ramp back up to 240, trying to trade in a sideways range and kind of consolidate before it heads higher. But overall, long term, I think these shippers do look good. So, all right. So next one, KRNT, another one that I traded last week. So the two key spots was the 18 break, based on opening and closing prices, and then if you look at the candle wicks, the top of those were right around 1850, where I tested it, you know, multiple times, and then so it broke through both of those levels, and you know, it got all the way up to almost 20, I think, which would have been a good target. So when I traded it, I made, I think, 50 cents or 80 cents a share or something. I sold it, forget exactly where, 1880, 1890, something like that. And I entered it right around 1850 or a little bit below that. So, but this one still looks like it's going higher. If you're looking at a base, like a measured move on this one, I would use kind of this depth here, so this 16 to say 18 or 1850, so that would give you $2. So if you had it at 18, right? So here's the base, the depth of the base right in here, around 16. That would be kind of an average, even though this went lower. You add that on, and then it almost got to 20, so that would have been your profit target. But it looked like it kind of gave back its gains there on Friday. But still one to watch going forward. It does look a little bit extended now. CTRL, another one. It's had this big gap up. It's just consolidating for several weeks, and now it's perking up near this 16 break. And so it kind of topped out just above 16 in the last several days. So I would use Friday's high, which corresponds with the previous day, Thursday's high. Kind of use that area as a buy point. It does look like it's ready to kind of continue higher after this consolidation, so that's one to keep an eye on. QLYS, the cybersecurity space is perking up here. See, this one had closed right at 37 and then had a big gap up through the resistance area right here and right here. So on this day it looked promising, and then it gapped up, had a nice run. So now it just looks like it's consolidating. So if you look at the cyber ETF, which is CIBR, you can see how that one's right there. Cybersecurity ETF. It's right near its highs. So this one, you can look at the holdings inside the cybersecurity ETF, and then Qualys is a big holding, and there's some other names too. I think one of them is FTNT, which also looks pretty good, right? So there you go. Looks like it's flagging out after the big gap up day. So this one looks like it's going to go higher too. Not a fast mover, but so you could look at some of these cybersecurity names. They actually look pretty good. Corey, here's a biotech that looks like it's bottoming out and kind of pushing through this 4 area. Honestly, it looks like 390, 394, something like that, right in there. It's kind of basing out sideways, and then now it's finally breaking higher. Decent looking chart. Not the best looking. I mean, it looks okay. So yeah, it's maybe 3 or 4 compared to some of the other names, but okay, IMGN, another biotech that looks like it's going to go higher. It's kind of had this big break down here, which is when we, I traded a while back on this break, and then it kind of consolidated up here. So a couple spots would be 4, or based on opening and closing, you could use right around this 390 area. This is one that does look like it's just consolidating for a move higher. So that's one to watch through 390 or 4 area. So Momo, this one, once again, another great example of how you get these big, nice moves that look like the stock's going to make a, multi-day breakout, and then it just kind of fails. So, but this one's still not too bad looking, although it gave back all of this day's move on Friday. So Thursday looked like it was going to broke through 35, and then 35.50, and it looked really good, and then it just kind of gave it back, right? So that's when I say it's kind of day traders market, where these things break and then they just give it back. So that's just kind of the market we're in. We'll see if the market can actually get we can get into a trending market where you can get multi-day moves and more conducive to swing trading. So Momo, still a good daily chart, although it's back at 34 here, so we'll just have to see how this thing develops. Yeah, CNCE is another one. I wanted to show you this one. See, this one we're trying to break out right here and then just kind of flopped and pulled back. So just needs more time to develop. But yeah, so that's CNCE. NVGS. This is a shipping name, and it looks like this spot right around 14 is a spot to watch here. This, had this breakout and then a pullback, and then it looked like it perked back up near 14, and then put in a higher low right here. So this one looks like it may want to perk up and break through 14. We'll see how that acts there. Another shipping name. Okay, BCLI. This one is a biotech, and it does look like it's ready to make another leg up. So this one had quite a run here. You can see where it had this big run up, and then kind of pulled back and consolidated. Well, on Friday, it had some really good volume. If you take a look at the volume compared to its recent volume, you can see there, see that big volume spike compared to all this volume. So that was a good sign. And then you can see where it kind of held, this low right here at 380. So it didn't make a new low, which was good. And then now, so if you, a couple key spots to watch would be the recent high up here, and then right in this area right in here. So right around the 430 area. So that would be two spots to watch. If it can break through Friday's close, and the next area would be 460 and then new highs. So this is a very good looking setup here, this BCLI one to watch. So there's another biotech, not the most liquid name. I think it trades 80,000 shares a day, so, and sometimes less than that. So but it's right at the spot of this resistance area, 475. Which was a high back here and a high back here. So the fact that it's right back there to that level is a key level to watch. If it breaks out, it'd be worth a trade. If you can get some volume in it growing. So that's a nice looking setup for Monday. And you can see where, so right there at that spot. 475, either for, you can do a day trade on it, or use a measured move, say from 475, and then add 75 cents. That would give you a target. Alright, BCOV, what it looks like here is this one could be perking up here through right around $9. If you can get some volume in this one, I think $9 looks like a good spot for a breakout there. That one looks good. IGC, so this is not really sure what this company does, but it had this just a really nice pattern, and it was breaking out through this 45 resistance on Friday, and I said it would go to, it looks like it wants to go to 50, and sure enough it broke 50, went to like 51, and so it's a penny play, so keep that in mind. Had good volume on Friday, and another key spot here is 50, closed right around, actually is at 48. So the high of this wick here, the high of this wick, and it closed right there at 48. So this one I wouldn't be surprised if you got more momentum next week on this one. It's a penny play, so it's going to be volatile. But, maybe this one goes 50 plus, 54, somewhere in there, something like that. But it's a nice looking setup for, a day trade or even, a couple day swing. I think it's actually a marijuana company or something, or at least they advertise that they are. I'm not really sure, but it's a nice little setup. RNN, so this one looks really good for next week. This is one where, this one had this 50 break, and I remember trading this one on this flag break here, and it did very well. I didn't catch all of that, but quite a move. Went all the way to 50. Or 52 plus, let's see, whatever that high that is, way up here to 56, right? And then pulled back, and then tested this 52 area, put in a higher low, and then now closed right at 52 spot. So this one looks fantastic for Monday. I think this one's going to have a nice move, and I would say maybe 60, at least 56, maybe even 60 or better on this RNN. It's a really nice chart. It's a penny play, but it does look like it's going higher. So I really like this RNN. XOMA, here was the breakout back through 6, and big volume breakout, and then kind of putting in a flag here, and then it perked up on Friday. So right up near the high of this wick here at 716. So this is a nice one to watch through 715, 716 area on Monday. That one could have a nice push, maybe even go to 750 or better. I like that one. XOMA does look good. The daily chart, you know, you can see this resistance back here, right around this 720, 18, whatever, somewhere in this area, 716. But this one looks good. It's pretty beaten down, but a very nice daily chart there. This XOMA. Okay, so APHQF, this Canadian weed play I've been watching for quite a while. You know, traded a few times and never really made any money on it, but just monitoring it here. So a couple key spots at 520, and then also right around 510 area. You can see Friday it actually closed above 5, which is good to see. And once again, the theory is that this thing's going to make a push into that Canadian legalization bill that's going to go through, I guess, April 10th. So basically buy the rumor, sell the news type stuff. So you can see this one make a move. It's a really nice daily. I really like that one. PLX, another baby bio that's setting up. Really looks pretty darn good. You know, a couple key spots would be 150, right? It's a high up here. Let's see, one around 152, 150, and but it looks like it at least wants to go back and test it. So maybe you buy it and then you sell it if it gets to 150, or you see if it breaks. But this one's setting up nicely for at least a test of recent highs, I think, around in the 140s or 150s area, to see how that acts. The PLX looks good. And then finally, we'll take a look at GNCA right here. 620 area, ramped up, pulled back, held this 6 or 5. Let's see here. So it held this area, and then now it's ramping back up near highs. Another decent looking bio name here. You can see that resistance in this right around 6, a little bit above it, is right back here too. So we'll see how that acts. But in general, the market is looking better. There's a lot more setups. If you take a look at the main watch list, there's several other setups that I didn't put on the top trade ideas, but there's several on there that look equally as good. So take a look at the main watch list, and there's several good names. So you know, hopefully the market starts to pick up. It's been very choppy lately, and it's been difficult for me, as well as I'm assuming a lot of you guys as well. So especially if you're holding it for more than a day, because you see these things pop and then drop, so that becomes frustrating. But the market will get better, and there will be some good opportunities. So just try to be patient, control your emotions, and realize that you know, nobody can win every day or every week. There's a few times a year that the market really gets going, and you can really catch some big winners, and that's all you really need to focus on. In between, it can be tough, and you can get choppy. So keep that in mind, guys, and don't give up hope or faith. You know, good times will return. You just have to be patient. So, all right, guys. See you guys on Monday. Have a good rest of your Sunday.